Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Budding Watch Enthusiast. So we are here today with another watch unboxing, which I was not expecting to get to do this week, but I'll talk about why that is in a brief second. Before we get into all that, a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Seiko SKX 007 today. It is an incredibly rainy and crappy day here in Baltimore, and for some reason, whenever it is a rainy, crappy day, I feel compelled to wear a dive watch. And speaking of dive watches, that is exactly what we are talking about today. We're taking a look at my unboxing and overview of the Christopher Ward C60 Trident Pro GMT. So I've been contemplating, I've been thinking about picking up a GMT watch or a second time zone watch. I talked about in my complications video a couple weeks ago that the GMT complication is one that I actually find really alluring for some reason. I just find it to be overwhelmingly practical and very neatly designed into a movement. So I've wanted a GMT watch for a little bit here. And I was basically deciding between this watch, the Manta Sky Quest, which is still in pre-order right now, or saving up for a really long time and buying a Tudor Black Bay GMT, which is, of course, very costly, and who knows when it's going to come back in stock, because I'm sure the wait lists are a mile long for it right now. And then I came across, for the first time, I came across on Reddit the r/watch exchange forum, and happened to find an incredible deal on the C60 GMT with the bezel color that I wanted, with the dial color that I wanted, and the newer dial as well, because as we talked about in my C65 review, I prefer the newer logo to the old logo. So I was able to find all this at a fantastic price, and I jumped all over it. And I have to give a shout out before we get started to the Reddit user Banana Pantaloons, which is a fantastic username, but Banana Pantaloons is also a fantastic guy, was a fantastic seller, answered all of my questions. And I will say I was a little nervous getting into, going to Reddit to buy a watch. A little bit of the Wild West out there, I mean, you do have buyer protection through PayPal, so you can avoid getting completely screwed over. But, you never know. A little bit trepidatious. But, again, Banana Pantaloons was awesome, fantastic seller. If you ever encounter one of his pieces that he is selling in the Watch Exchange Reddit, I would say you can buy from him with confidence. But that is enough preamble. Let's switch perspectives, go to the desk, and take a look at the C60 Trident GMT. All right, guys, so let's get right into the unboxing. I know usually that I leave it packaged in the original mailing package and open it that way on camera. Since this was a used watch, I did want to make sure that it was in good condition and ready to rock and roll before we did the unboxing. So as you can see, it is a Christopher Ward. You know that because you know what watch we're looking at, because you looked at the YouTube title, one assumes. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We have our package with our microfiber cloth in here. We have the paperwork and whatnot for the watch, including all the warranty information, serial number. You can see some damage here to the outer box. Don't really care about that. That's what the outer box is for, is to protect the stuff that is important. So let me get this stuff out of the way. And yes, so here we are, another Christopher Ward watch. Let's open this up, and there it is, the C60 Trident Pro GMT watch. Go ahead and take that little plastic off. It's protecting the crystal. And there it is. Look at that watch. So I've been in the market for like a really Thule style dive watch. I have the C65 vintage. That is a great, dressy style tool watch, but more of an everyday wear watch, more of a dress watch. So yeah, I was looking for something that was a true tool, a true diver, and I've also been fascinated with the GMT hand complications. So that was an even greater reason to get this. And again, I mentioned the watches that I was debating between at the top of this. I decided to go with the Trident Pro, partially because, again, the deal that I got on this was incredible, but also the fact that I was really taken with the C65. Really impressed me, Christopher Ward did, with the the quality of the watch and everything. So I decided to give it another whirl, give it another shot, and go with this one. So let's get into the overview of this watch, and let me go ahead and zoom in just a little bit to give you guys a better look here. So let's start with the movement. Ticking away inside of this is the ETA 2893-2 GMT movement from ETA, and this is a, I guess, elaborate grade movement from ETA. So basically, ETA movements have 4 different grades. This would be so like standard grade is what most watches have. Elaborate is a step above that, and a step below top grade. So a little bit more accurate than a standard movement than you'll find in this watch, but not quite as good as having like a top grade ETA, which usually falls within chronometer certifications. You see the second hand ticking away. This does beat at 28,800 vibrations per hour. The movement does have a 42-hour power reserve. It is tolerated for -20 to +20. The gentleman that I bought this from, Mr. Banana Pantaloons, said that he was consistently seeing +2 seconds per day, which is exceptional if that maintains its accuracy. If we go ahead and unscrew the crown, we will note that the watch does have manual wind, which is incredibly smooth, and you can't even really hear it winding, which is really something, but it's in there. If we pull the watch out to the first position, we do see that we get quick set movement on the GMT hand here, and if we turn it counterclockwise, we do have a quick set date. And if we pull the watch out all the way, we notice the second hand stops, it does hack, and that lets us set the time, which will also move the GMT hand. So if we're looking at the measurements of this watch, it has a width of 43 millimeters. We're looking at about 51.5 millimeters from lug to lug, though it doesn't look that long at initial glance, does it? It does look a little bit more stout than I would expect with that lug width there. You do have a height of 13.5 millimeters and a 22 millimeter lug width for this watch. So looking at the case, it is 316L stainless steel, a flat brush finish on the side, combined with a polished finish on top. If we look at the crown, and we'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit for that, it does have a, like I said, screw down crown that is embossed with the twin flag Christopher Ward logo. If we flip the case around, it does have the Trident stamp on the back, along with a wave pattern behind that as well. So a screw down case back, of course, and this watch does have a 600 meter water resistance. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to find myself 600 meters underneath the water, but it's good to know that if I do, that this watch will be a successful companion to bring along. So let's get into the bezel and the dial. The bezel is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. Now that is curious that they decided to go with essentially the same bezel that they have on their divers. Let's spin that around. That is really sharp, really solid clicking action. No back play at all, which is just excellent. But just a really firm click. I could do that all day. But yeah, 120 clicks for some reason. I don't know why they went with that with the GMT watch. I guess that does go to show you that it is a dive watch first and foremost with this watch. Now, also interesting, the bezel does have a ceramic insert, which is the first watch that I've ever owned that does have a ceramic insert. Usually the other watches that I have had aluminum inserts. The numerals are laser etched into the insert as you would expect. And curiously, instead of having just the GMT timing bezel that you see around most of it, they decided to go with a hybrid. So the first quarter of the bezel is a traditional dive time bezel that will time up to 15 minutes, and then it switches over to the GMT. That's a little odd. It's one of the odd things about this watch. Again, it just reminds you that it is a dive watch first and a GMT watch second. I do kind of wish they had just gone with the GMT the whole way around, but I guess that does make this watch stand out a little bit as well. We have a flat sapphire crystal that just ever so slightly sticks up above the top of the bezel there. Now for me, the main feature of this watch is this beautiful black dial that does have, you can see that guilloche wave pattern, very indicative of the Omega Seamaster Pros that you see out there as well. Very, very, very cool looking. I love the wave pattern. Just look at that. That's fantastic. Very, very nice looking. We do see applied baton markers at each of the hour positions, including a double baton at 12 o'clock for alignment purposes. And then around the outside, it's very small, but around the outside you do also have minute indices as well that run around the outside of the watch. So with the hands, we do have the traditional Christopher Ward Trident style hands where you have the sword minute hand along with the bulbous hour hand that runs around the outside. Perfect length on these. The minute hand does reach the minute track, and the hour hand perfectly reaches the hour indices, as you can see there as well. We of course have a framed date window here at the 3 o'clock position, and of course the polarizing Christopher Ward logo at 9 o'clock. Which some of you will hate, and some of you will not care. And of course the bright orange GMT hand running along the outside of the watch as well. And as is customary with the Trident watches, we have the Trident counterbalance on the running seconds hand that has a little bit of a lollipop at the top as well, again just for visibility purposes. All of the hands and indices are treated with Super Luminova. I will drop a lume shot in here right now so you guys can see what this watch looks like all loomed up. And if we take a look at the bracelet, this is of course, an oyster style bracelet on this watch made of marine grade stainless steel. It does have the twin flag logo on the folding clasp, which has double pushers on the side here. And it has also my favorite feature, and one of the other reasons I was curious to get this watch. You'll see that it does not have micro adjustments on the outside of the watch, but it does has a ratchet style micro adjustment system. So if we push the bracelet in, you can see that tightens it up all the way. I'll try to get better focus, and all you have to do to adjust it out is pull this clasp out, and you can freely micro adjust it. Very, very cool. A very cool system. Again, not nearly as sophisticated as the glide lock system that you'll find on Rolex watches, but very cool for a watch that is in this price range. So I'm going to see if I can pop it on the wrist so we can see what that looks like as well. So here is what the C60 Trident Pro GMT looks like on my 8-inch wrist. I don't have the clasp closed, unfortunately. It is a little bit undersized, and unfortunately it did not really come with extra links. The guy that I bought it from was the second owner of this watch, so it will. I had to order some from Christopher Ward, but I have that started with them, so hopefully I'll have those soon. I of course won't review it until I get a chance to get those in and get a sense for what the bracelet is like, but that is what it looks like on the wrist. Again, for me, for a larger wrist, it's perfectly sized. It doesn't appear to wear like a 43mm watch would, probably because there's not a lot of case sticking out underneath the bezel. The bezel is the same width as the case, so I guess that's why you get that a little bit there. But yeah, it looks perfect for me. The smaller wristed among us might find this a little too large, perhaps, but they do have a 38mm option if that is your bag. I don't know if I want to wait until the links come in before I start getting to enjoy the watch. I might pop the bracelet off and put it on a NATO strap so that I can enjoy it while I wait for those links to get shipped in. But I'm actually, like I said, I'm not a bracelet guy, but I'm actually looking forward to using this on the bracelet. I'm curious to see how having the easy micro adjustment works for me, because of course the biggest disadvantage to bracelets is during the summertime, as your wrist swells from the heat, they can become a little bit uncomfortable, so you have to wear them looser. So this one, you can get a good fit, and then if your wrist blows up a little bit during the day, you can just pop it off, quickly adjust it, and put it right back on the wrist, which is very, very nice. But yeah, so overall impressions, I'm pleased, and again, you guys can see the watch is in immaculate condition and fantastic for a watch that I think has been kicking about for about a year and a half now, from when it was originally purchased. So yes, very cool. So that is the overview of the Christopher Ward C60 Trident GMT. I'm gonna experience this watch for a couple weeks, and then you will get my full review on it a few weeks from now. So look forward to that. But yeah, that's it for this video. So guys, if you enjoyed this and found it informative, do me a favor, hit the like button that you'll see right below there. Also, if you are new here, do me a huge favor, hit the red subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you will never miss an episode of the Budding Watch Enthusiast. Let me know down in the comments below your initial thoughts on this watch. And of course, if you guys use Instagram and you don't follow me, go to @BuddingWatchEnthusiast to give me a follow there as well, where I'm sure you'll be seeing this guy popping up here and there. Thank you guys very much for watching. Again, look out for the full review coming up in a couple of weeks. And until then, I will see you.